Hello everyone, this tutorial is going to be for how to draw clouds. This is one of many ways that you can do it. This is one that seems to work pretty easy and you don't have to have any special brushes or anything. So this is the one we're going to go with for this. So for this assignment you will open up a new file and you give it the standard size we've been using, which is the 1920 by 1080. And make sure you can put a white background on it. We're gonna change the color of that anyway, but you can do it here and just make sure it should already be set to landscape orientation. Okay, so we'll go ahead and create. And first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna darken this background. I'm just gonna use the fill tool. So I'm gonna click over here, right here, this fill tool. Again, just hold down for a bit. Use the paint bucket tool. Let's change our color here a little bit. And we're going to just go to a medium gray. And again, that's so we can see a contrast a little bit better for what we're doing. That might be too dark. Let's go a little bit lighter. All right, there we go. That's probably better. Okay, so we're gonna add a new layer above this one, and this is going to be the base of our cloud. So what you want to do is you want to come up with like 4 or 5 colors that I'm sorry, but 3 or 4 colors that you want to use for your cloud. And I'm just going to paint some swatches here so you can see, so we can kind of be on the same page here if you want to use the same colors I'm using. Just kind of give a sky color. Yeah. So we want to kind of do a bright one. Yeah, we'll stick with that. And then I'm going to use brush tool, and so I increase the size of my brush here. And I'm just going to put a little blob of it over here. Okay, that's one color we're going to use, and we're going to go a little bit darker. So I'm just going to go right here to this fella here, and I'm going to get a little bit darker, but a little bit grayer. And we will put another blob there. And then we'll get a lighter one as well. So I'm going to go way over here. Not completely white. We're going to use white later on. There you go. And again, just like our other things, the contrast doesn't need to be very severe for what we're doing here. So this will make it a little bit easier to manage. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start out with, let me make another layer here. This will be our little swatches here that we can pick from if we need to. And then once we use these, then we won't need them anymore. We can turn them off. All right, so all I'm going to do is get a round brush. And again, I'm going to use the standard brushes right here. I'm going to use the hard round pressure size. That's the one I'm going to use. Okay. And all right, let's close that. So we just click right here to close that. And all you're going to do is just make some big circles here, just kind of just like this. Maybe one over here, one over here. Fill this in, kind of go across. We're going to kind of make a low flat cloud here. And again, once you've done this a couple times, you can change it, and I can even, you can put a couple of columns in here. And again, just, just kind of give it a little bit of some style here. Okay. However you want to do it. You can have a single column if you want, but whatever works for you. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to shrink down your brush, and you're just going to add little blobs sticking off the side here. You can just see how to kind of break up and just, just kind of make it a little bit less well defined. And again, this can be a little bit frustrating. It doesn't quite look like you want it to, but just, you got to remember, clouds are generally not uniform at all. So just nobody knows that your cloud is misshapen at all. So just don't fret too much about that. All right, I'm gonna skip ahead real quick here and then just get this all filled in. If you need to pause the video, get yours done up, and again, whenever you need to, just take a second, stop the video so you can get what you need. I'm gonna turn this one off real quick for a second. Let's bring this up a little bit. If I didn't skip the video, just forget what I said. And again, even down here, just some rumblings of inconsistency here. Okay, so then next, and again, I'm kind of just speeding this up. Normally, you know me, I'm a little bit particular, so I'd be probably spending more time on this than I should. But okay, all right. So you start off with something like this, okay, and then I'm going to show you a technique here, that a couple things you can do that keep you from drawing outside of the lines here, as they say. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to dip this down a little bit so we can get a kind of a round bottom to this cloud, like it's closer to us. Of course, see, this is what I'm talking about. I like to add things, give it a little bit of roundness here at the bottom. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to lock the pixels, the transparent pixels. All of this out here, if I turn this off, this background off, you see this, all this checkerboard part is transparent. So if I turn off, or if I lock the transparent pixels by clicking this little checkerboard guy right there, that will make it, if I change colors, see, it will only draw on that part. Okay, so that's what the purpose of that. I'm going to do that. Okay, so now we're going to make another layer. This is another way that we can draw on a different layer but still maintain the link to that one. We're going to create another layer, and we are going to right click on it with our mouse, and we're going to go to create clipping mask. And you'll see it does this little arrow thing, and then now what that does is whatever I draw on this layer will constrain itself to what was on the one below it. Okay, so if I let me turn my color palette back on here. I'm going to pick this middle color here, and again I hold down the Alt key with the brush. The brush has got to be selected. Hold down the Alt key and click on this guy. Now what you're going to do is you got to kind of decide where the shadows are. Now, if the sun is coming from the left right here, then this side's going to be bright, and the edges over here are going to be bright, and that will kind of indicate where you're going to be. If the light's coming like in front of this cloud, it'll shine on this side and make this kind of a little bit darker, but sometimes the edges will get caught up, so you'll see that. Let me turn this off here real quick. So now what we're going to do with this layer here, we're going to just start kind of doing some shadows here. Let me make that bigger. Oh, also, I'm sorry, we need to change this brush. We need to soften this brush here. So I'm going to go up here to the hardness. I'm going to crank it down. Take this little knob there. Oh, come on. There we go. And then we're going to just, and again, I think is this the pressure size brush? Yeah, pressure size. Okay. So now we're just going to color some back sides of these clouds here. And again, it's not looking really pretty and cloudy right now, but this, you kind of do this. Remember, I wanted to round this bottom here, so I'm going to kind of round this here. So kind of give a round bottom to this cloud. And notice that I can brush all I want all over the place here, but it keeps it locked to this part here. So again, I'm going to, or it keeps it from painting out of the side here. So I'm going to kind of draw all up the sides here on the back sides of these clouds, so these towers. And again, it doesn't look very good, and you'll get frustrated likely until you get this thing down here. And then you can just bring stuff up from the middle to kind of give your cloud some definition, like it's got lumpy in certain places, you know. And you one piece of advice that I got from watching the video was just make sure that, you know, these little stragglers that come sticking out, they connect to the side or the bottom. See, like these are all kind of connecting to the side, and see, you know, I can kind of see a path here going. So, and then, or if you want it to come to the side like this, like you got this right here, that looks good. And again, just, you know, the beauty of Photoshop is that it's not, you're not locked into doing anything. So, okay. You can kind of, you know, like almost like with the rock one, you can kind of see where it kind of may indent and give you some shadows. You know, so just do that. Okay, so now after you do this step, and I'm going kind of fast, so if you know, take your time here, and if you want to take a little more time to fine tune this, stop the video and just continue. I'm going to put another kind of stripy thing right there. And again, don't get frustrated, because I mean, like even when we do this next part, it'll look like it's turning out horribly, but magically at some point it will work. Okay. All right. So with this step done here, next we're going to do is we're going to use a smudge tool, and we'll use that to kind of blend this. We're going to get a kind of a textury kind of brush to make it blend a little bit better. So the smudge tool, if you look right here where this drop is, and you hold down that, you'll see there's the smudge tool there. It's like a little finger here. Now I'm going to pick, I was playing around with this, so I'm going to pick a different brush here. So I'm going to click on the brush tool over here, and you'll see in my brush settings here, I've got a bunch of different kind of brushes I can use. I just want a kind of a scattery one. Something like this or like this. Yeah, that looks good. All right, we'll take that one. And again, it's if you just go to the brush settings window, and you'll see this little chart up here when you click brush tip shape. All right. So now, again, if this doesn't work, then you can do it. You know, I don't really like the shape of that brush. Let's get another one. Yeah, don't use these Kyle ones because it'll reset the tool as well. We don't want that. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing again. Here we go. Okay, that might work. Okay, so never mind. I went to this one here. It's got the number 60 on it. That just refers to the size, which we can change. And then, all right, let's just go with that one. Okay, so now we're going to use the smudge tool, and you are going to now start smudging these things. And again, just all you're going to do is make kind of circular shapes around this, and just if it gets too swirly, you can make it just, you can make it smaller or make it larger, whatever works for you. And you just gotta watch how you drag them in. And you want to leave some of them sharp, or we can go back and get these sharpened here by just going back with like an eraser tool. And you see it's already starting to look a little more cloudy. I'm gonna and notice I left this one sharp right here. I'll probably go back and refine that a little bit to make it a little bit sharper. But I found that if you kind of in a situation like this where you got like a bump right there, if you leave the top part of the lighter section alone like this and then do, the bottom section, and you see you can drag this color this way more. Okay, I'm going to get the eraser tool and I'm going to sharpen up some of these bits here. So you see it kind of looks like there's bits of cloud that are closer. And see, then I'll go through again and say, make it a little bit lumpier in this part here. And again, I'm using the eraser tool here. You notice I just kind of make a couple clumps here of clouds. So generally these, you got them stacked against each other, you'll have clumps in front of other clumps. Let me just extend this all the way over there. And again, it can be a little frustrating if things aren't just not quite looking the way you want, but just be patient and just let it happen. And then so you can go back and forth with the smudge tool. Let me clump those up. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the smudge tool and then just kind of blend these parts in. Especially where I drew the bottom of those sections. I need to get those kind of again, what's good about clouds is if you do them wrong, nobody's the wiser. All right, I'm gonna borrow some paint here. I'm gonna go to brush. If I need a little more color somewhere, I'll just go to the brush tool, hold down the Alt key, and then tap, and then throw a little bit of color in a section I think needs it. And again, you just go back and forth until you get it. Go back to the smudge tool. See, I'm not liking this part right there, but I can go back to that later. All right, we're going to get through this, and then you'll just have time to that. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get even the darker one. And I'm going to grab it right there. Again, hit the brush key, hold down Alt. And I'm just going to, some of the deeper recesses, I'm going to shrink my brush down a little bit. I'm going to again, some of the deeper recesses I'll color again. And again, I may have to go back over with the eraser tool again to kind of get these blended again. And then this whole underneath part is going to be darker. Again, I'm kind of rounding it, so we're under it a little bit. It's a little bit closer to us than a lot of tutorials I see. They leave this kind of part kind of flat, but I'm trying to give it a little bit of mojo. Notice, and all right, now notice I didn't really need to fill everything out. So now I'm going to go back to the smudge tool. And again, I'm just going to get the edges here, pull this down into here, kind of get it mixed up here. And you'll see there's a darker recess there. I can pull some of this up. Right here, see, same thing. I can just kind of mix this up, get it darker in there. Again, I can come back and add some more in there too. And again, I'm just making circular motions, especially on the under parts of these cloud bits here. And then even under here, just bring this in. And just kind of get the edge here. You know, I might have made that stick up a little bit too much, so I'll bring this down a little more. I'll bring this white part, and I'll bring in this a little bit. So you just play around with it for a while. Again, I'm just messing around here right now, so just see, I'm not too hep on this part back here. Need to make it a little bit darker. Let me get my brush tool. I still got the Alt, and just kind of turn off that. Again, I should be just, all right, so get the smudge tool back. Again, you just kind of pull it in the direction you want it to fill. And you just want to get it, go to the right to the edge and blend it a little bit. Yeah, I probably should have put more there. I just kind of, and again, if you bring it into streaks here, blended, get darker bits. Let's bring some of this in here. And again, you just play with it until you get what you need, and you will find. All right. Again, just play with this more than what you need. I'm going to go on to the next section. I'll probably, if this was my real one, I would probably go back and just kind of fine tune this again. And again, don't get frustrated. Just play around with it and do that sort of thing. Okay, now the next bit we're gonna highlight, give some highlights here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another layer above this one, and we're also going to clip it. So if we hover over it and then go create clipping mask again, now whatever we draw on this one, I'm going to go to a lighter color. Let me need my brush tool. Let's go. I'm going to pick this color and then get something lighter. And then click here. We're going to get something even lighter. You don't want to go completely white, but pretty close. And then we're going to change this layer mode. If you hover over here, you see this layer. This is the one we're coloring. If you click right here, this normal, we're going to go to the one that says linear dodge add. And what this does is we'll add some color to this. So you just find, you know, it might be too bright. That might be too bright. Let's crank down the opacity a little bit of that layer. Whoops. The opacity of that layer, just bring it down. Oh, that's too much. Not enough. Well, let me use my mouse. That's easier. Okay. All right. So you just kind of highlight the front of the clouds. And again, you can kind of see the thing here. Just kind of fill them in, these parts here. And again, you don't have to go fill in this whole round part. You can give it some, you know, like color or some streaks in it. You can even, you know, do like different sections that wouldn't normally go here. Oh, you know what? See, I didn't work on, I should have worked on this part right here to make the tops more fluffy. So do that a little bit. So again, you're just playing around. All right, so I'm going to now use the smudge tool on this one and just kind of stretch out the edges here. Okay, so there you go. Again, you know, I've got a lot of things I would like to do to this. I'd probably darken some of the, get some darker stripes in the bottom here. So, you know, whatever you feel like you need to do. And let me go to this layer here and see I've got all this kind of weird chunkiness right here that probably wouldn't be this way. That doesn't look natural right there. So I'd probably do some work on this part. Get some darkness and get some contrast in here, and I'd probably work on the bottom here to get it a little bit get a little bit more you know, caught up. And you see I've got all these little blank spots in here. I probably should go back and fill them in too as well. But you get the idea, the general idea. That's roughly how you make a cloud. So okay, so spend some time, make a couple of different clouds. You can put them on different layers if you'd like. Group them, and give me about let's say 3 clouds. But again, please don't just rush and do them and just get there. You know, spend some time. Try and make it what you want. Okay. All right. We'll see you in class. Bye.